Okada and two of his friends from the university. First of all, we see Yan's neighbor, Mr. Hori, and he's just about to set out on a long journey. We'll look more closely at the conversation between him and his son, Takeshi, and Mrs. Hori in What's New later in the program. Then, we see Yan's next-door neighbor, Terada-san, who banged on the door the night before. Terada-san is leaving for work, still unfriendly as ever. But all this time, all that Yan has been able to think about is Miss Okada and what she said the night before. Miss Okada said that she was thinking of quitting her job and leaving Tokyo to go and live with her parents. What did Miss Okada imply by saying this? We'll find out in a later episode. But anyway, Miss Okada seems to be very much on Yan's mind as he gives the rest of the cake she brought to the party to the Horis and sets out for the university. Finally, we saw some more of life in the Hori family as the children hurry off to school. That's basically what happened in today's episode. Let's start out by watching one of the scenes from today's episode again. Try to figure out what's going on.
ヤンさんおはよう。
あ、おはよ
ケシ、早くご飯食べなさい。はい。
う。ばあさん、おはようございます。
おはよう。
おじさんはもう出かけたんですか？
ええ、今日は長崎行くんですって。今日は長崎行くんですって。
Could you guess what they were saying? Yan asked Mrs. Hori if her husband had set out for work yet. Mrs. Hori told Yan that he had left already and that he said he was going to Nagasaki this time.
今日は長崎へ行くんですって。今日は長崎へ行くんですって。
Note this te at the end. She uses this little word te to indicate that she's reporting what somebody else, in this case her husband, has said. Let's go on and look at another scene where this te is used repeatedly. As you watch, try to guess what kind of exchange is taking place between Mr. Hori, Mrs. Hori, and their son, Takeshi.
あんた今日は？
長崎だ。
長崎だって。長崎だって。帰りは？
あさってだと思うな。
あさってだって。あさってだって。
It seemed like an interesting conversation, didn't it? In this scene, Takeshi was telling his mother what his father had said by using te at the end of each sentence. Let's look at this conversation a little more closely.
あんた今日は？
長崎だ。
First, Mrs. Hori asked her husband where he was going by saying, 今日は? How about today? He answered, Nagasaki, but she couldn't hear him because of the loud noise of the truck's engine. So Takeshi told her in a louder voice, but Takeshi didn't just say Nagasaki. Listen out for what else he said.
長崎だって。長崎だって。
Takeshi said, Nagasaki datte. He said datte at the end to show that he was just reporting what his father had said. Let's watch a little bit further.
帰りは？
あさってだと思うな。
Next, Mrs. Hori asked her husband when he will return, saying, 帰りは? Mr. Hori answered that he'd probably come back the day after tomorrow. あさって How did Takeshi convey this to his mother?
あさってだって。あさってだって。
He said, あさってだって. Again, he just picked out one word from his father's words and repeated it to his mother, saying だって at the end. So, as you've seen, you can pick out just the relevant word of what someone has said and report it to someone else by following it up with this だって. But be careful. だって is rather informal. It's used in close relationships like between mother and child. But to be polite, it's better for you to use ですって instead.
長崎ですって。長崎ですって。
あさってですって。あさってですって。
Now, let's see some more examples of this kind of polite use of て.
いやー疲れた疲れた。
おかえりなさい。おかえりなさい。
おかえりなさい。
お疲れ様でした。はいこれお土産。
どうもすいません。ねえ安藤さん、これお土産ですって。
えお土産？あ小柳さん。はい。それからこれありがとう。
あ、はい。
お、これは何かな？
ああおまんじゅうだよおまんじゅう。
おまんじゅう、私大好き。ねえそれおまんじゅうですって。
あ、本当だ。
あー美味しそう。
早速いただきますか。
じゃあ私お茶入れてきます。
いただきます。児玉さんもお一ついかがですか？
ああいや私は今日はもう帰ります。
あ、そうですか。小柳さん、児玉さんもう帰りますって。
あら、そうですか。
Kodama-san said that he was going home, and I guess that solved Ando-san's problem. Anyway, could you hear how て was used there? We heard two sentences ending in ですって。
はいこれお土産。
どうもすみません。ねえ安藤さん、これお土産ですって。これお土産ですって。
お、これは何かな？
ああおまんじゅうだよおまんじゅう。
おまんじゅう、私大好き。ねえそれおまんじゅうですって。